June of 2023, a YouTuber named Kaylee uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Exploring a Haunted Abandoned Psych Ward" to her channel, The Paranormal Patch. Her channel mainly focuses on urban exploration, and she often documents footage of her experiences exploring various haunted and abandoned locations across the United States. In this particular video, Kaylee decided to explore an abandoned psych ward known as the Arthur Brisbane Treatment Center situated in New Jersey. As Kaylee began her exploration, she ventured deep into the woods to reach the abandoned facility. After walking for almost 2 miles, Kaylee finally located the facility, which was split into 3 buildings. She eventually entered the first building and cautiously explored it to see if anyone or anything was inside. Fortunately for Kaylee, she found no one inside, nor did she find any signs that indicated that the building was haunted. Kaylee then left the building and went to the second facility. Similar to the first building, she found nothing except for some creepy graffiti and various pieces of abandoned furniture. Everything up to this point seemed to be going pretty smoothly for Kaylee, as the first 2 buildings she explored revealed nothing unusual. Kaylee then left that building and decided to explore the third and final facility. However, as soon as she stepped inside the building, that's when things started to take a turn for the worse for Kaylee.
Wow, look at how the floor is warping. I'm scared to step on it. Look at this, guys. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, look at the lockers. Guys, this place is so loud. Is it haunted? Because I keep hearing noises too. Okay, let's go in. So this was the schoolhouse. See if I missed anything cool. I hope I can open this. Why did it move as soon as I came close to it? Can someone explain that to me? That was freaky.
As Kaylee approached the door, it mysteriously moved and rattled right in front of her. Startled by the door's movement, Kaylee initially froze and remained in her position, but she eventually opened the door to investigate. However, when she went inside, she found nothing that could have caused the door to move. For the next few minutes, Kaylee stayed by the door to make sense and rationalize what she had just witnessed. She ultimately concluded that the door must have moved due to the wind or the poor condition of the door itself. She then dismissed this detail and eventually decided to go back to her exploration. However, as she was walking through the hallway, that's when she encountered something that sent her running out of the building.
I think it's all basically the same shit. Oh. 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 What the fuck? What the fuck? That scared the shit out of me. Oh my good lord. That was spooky. Why the fuck are the doors opening and closing?
It's evident that multiple doors mysteriously opened, and just moments later, they forcefully slammed shut. Kaylee, terrified for her life, immediately ran out of the room and stared in the direction of the commotion to make sense of what she had just witnessed. Given that Kaylee had initially dismissed the door slamming as being caused by the wind, but this time this theory regarding the wind might not be true, as multiple doors were slamming simultaneously. By this point, Kaylee had absolutely no idea why or how the doors were moving on their own. As a result, she spent the next few minutes contemplating whether she should leave or go back inside to investigate. but she ultimately composed herself and went inside the building to investigate, regardless of who might be inside.
Oh, there's a basement. Oh God, guys, we gotta go back through here. Not the fucking moving doors again. Do we go towards it? Bruh. What door is doing that? Oh, I like this room. Hey, shut up back there. What door was doing that? What's this? What one is it? Y'all just watched me walk past all of that. What door is that? What door? What door is doing that? Dude, I'm leaving. I'm going through this hole. Alright, let's get out of here.
After Kaylee went inside the building to investigate, she searched everywhere, but unfortunately she found nothing that could have caused the doors to slam with such force. Disturbingly, during her investigation, she noticed even more doors moving and slamming in the same manner that she had seen earlier. By this point, Kaylee had no interest in investigating or exploring the building further, and she ultimately decided to leave the building and end her exploration. It's still unclear how the doors were mysteriously slamming, along with the mystery behind whether what Kaylee encountered that day was paranormal. But based on everything she encountered that day, the only logical explanation that comes to mind is that a squatter or homeless individual might have been inside the building with her. However, given that Kaylee didn't hear any footsteps or any other noise apart from the doors moving, this theory might not be true. Another possibility is that the doors might have moved due to the wind, but again, given that they were slamming simultaneously, combined with the fact that there were no open windows nearby, this theory regarding the wind seems less plausible. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide if what Kaylee witnessed during her visit was merely caused by the wind or if it was something far more sinister.
So, I don't really know too much about this place, other than the fact that it was like a school for children who needed help. I've seen some reviews on Google Maps of people who actually went here and they said that it was terrible.
If you've enjoyed the video so far, it would mean a lot if you considered subscribing. Over 95% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. Your support really helps the channel grow, and in return, I promise to keep bringing you guys the best quality content. Now let's get back to the video. In January of 2023, a YouTuber named Colby uploaded a video titled Exploring an Abandoned School to his channel, Uncharted Expeditions. Colby's channel focuses on urban exploration, and he frequently shares footage of his experiences exploring various abandoned locations throughout North America. In this particular video, Colby, along with his friend Colton, decided to explore an abandoned school located somewhere in the United States. According to Colby, the school has been abandoned for a significant amount of time and is situated in a very rough neighborhood. The building itself has also become a haven for squatters and homeless individuals. As Colby began his exploration, he navigated through the property to locate an entrance. After locating an entry point, the explorers crawled through a hole to enter the building. Once inside, they immediately noticed the building's terrible condition, with deteriorating walls and ceilings, along with black mold spreading throughout the building. As they explored further, they discovered a mattress inside one of the rooms, indicating that someone might be living there, but they didn't hear or see anything that suggested the individual was currently inside the building. The explorers then left the room and continued their exploration. However, just moments later, as they were walking through one of the rooms, that's when they stumbled upon something truly unexplainable.
I feel like we should have brought masks. So much black mold. I know. This is bad. Do you want to look at the masks? They can't go back now.
After the explorers noticed the door mysteriously moving on its own, they stared intently, trying to make sense of what they were witnessing. Given that the building was known to have issues with squatters and homeless individuals, there's a very high possibility that someone was inside the room and was somehow responsible for the door's movement. If this actually were the case, then things could escalate quickly, especially since squatters and homeless individuals are known to be hostile towards unwanted visitors. For the next few minutes, the explorers remained in their positions, contemplating whether they should go inside the room to investigate or whether they should leave. But the explorers eventually built up their courage and decided to investigate regardless of who might be inside.
I guess we gotta go through the creepy door. Yeah. So scary, dude. I'm getting a weird vibe from this place. I like it. Convenient door.
To the explorers' absolute shock, despite searching everywhere, they found nothing that could have moved the door. This detail was particularly alarming, given that the explorers had initially suspected someone was inside the room and had moved the door, but upon searching the room, they quickly realized this wasn't the case. The explorers now couldn't determine or comprehend how the door had moved. As a result, they decided to leave the room. However, as they were leaving, that's when they encountered something once again.
This is creepy, bro. Yeah, literally right after we walked through that door right there, it shut back on us. And then it opened back. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Where are we? It started shutting. Okay, now let's go.
As the explorers were leaving the room, the door they had just exited suddenly began closing, and moments later, the door that had just closed started opening. By this point, the explorers had no interest in going back to the room to investigate further, but they didn't just leave. Instead, they began exploring the remaining parts of the building. However, little did the explorers know that what they were about to encounter next would be far worse than anything they had encountered previously.
Watching these doors open and shut. Can you see that on the camera?
Oh, heck no. Colby, what the heck?
No, this gotta be a joke. Dude, glass just broken.
It's evident that the door mysteriously starts opening and closing several times. Upon noticing the moving door, the explorers stayed at the end of the hallway, staring at the door and trying to rationalize and comprehend what they were looking at. After yet another bizarre encounter, the explorers had absolutely no idea why or how the doors were slamming. As a result, they were consumed with fear and anxiety over everything they had been witnessing. But they eventually composed themselves and decided to go towards the door and investigate it. However, just as they were approaching the door, that's when they encountered something that effectively put an end to their exploration.
In front of me, I'm gonna look exactly. Dude.
As the explorers were approaching the door, it once again slammed shut, and just seconds later, it inexplicably opened. When they entered the room to investigate, they searched everywhere to see if someone was inside or if wind was coming through an open window, but they unfortunately found nothing that could have caused the door to slam with such force. After this chilling encounter, the explorers had no interest in staying inside the building, and they eventually ended their exploration and left the school. It's still a mystery how the doors were opening and closing on their own, along with whether what the explorers encountered that day was paranormal. The only way to rationalize it is that the doors might have moved due to the wind. However, given the force with which the doors were slamming, combined with the fact that they were opening and closing simultaneously, this theory regarding the wind might not be true. Even if it was the wind, there were no open windows that could have produced such force to slam the doors. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide if what Colby and Colton encountered that day was truly paranormal or not. In September of 2021, a British YouTuber named Colin uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Exploring an Abandoned Hospital" to his channel The Bearded Explorer. His channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, and he frequently posts footage of his strange encounters while exploring various haunted and abandoned buildings. In this particular video, Colin decided to explore an abandoned hospital known as the Zachary Merton Ward, situated in Stanmore, England. Constructed in 1936, it was one of the first dedicated rehabilitation facilities in the UK. This was a crucial step in advancing patient care at that time, as there was a growing recognition of the need for specialized care for patients with chronic conditions. However, as medical technology and rehabilitation practices evolved, the need for older facilities like the Zachary Merton Ward diminished. The ward was ultimately shut down in the mid-1980s. Since then, the hospital has been completely abandoned for over 40 years and has gained a reputation for being haunted. One of the most famous paranormal sightings linked with the ward is that of the Grey Lady. She is typically described as a figure dressed in gray, believed to be the spirit of a former patient or staff member. Some witnesses have reported seeing her walking through the ward, while others have felt her presence without actually seeing her. Despite all this, Colin chose to explore the haunted hospital on his own. As he began his exploration and stepped foot inside the hospital, he immediately noticed the terrible condition of the building, with crumbling walls and ceilings along with piles of paper and junk scattered everywhere. During this time, he mentioned that this was one of the creepiest places he'd ever been in and was nothing like he'd ever explored before. As he explored further, he discovered stacks of old furniture and medical equipment left behind. Everything up to this point seemed to be going pretty smoothly for Colin, as he didn't hear or see anything unusual. However, as he made his way into the hallway, he started hearing some pretty bizarre noises, and that's when things started to take a very disturbing turn for Colin.
Do you know, I've been to a lot of buildings and places on my own, but this place here is giving me the chills like you wouldn't believe it. I think this place closed back in the 1980s. You know, it's been empty for a very, very long time. I'm actually surprised it's still here. Normally they bring these places down, like... What's that? Oh, I'm hearing noises in there now. That wasn't nice. It sounded like footsteps. That was really creepy. There is so much stuff in here. Oh, what was that? I don't think there's anyone else in here. I'm sure there isn't. I keep hearing these weird noises. It's an empty, disused building. There's probably all sorts of animals and things in here.
After Colin heard the noises, he initially didn't think much of it. But when he heard the noise again, he ultimately concluded that it must belong to an animal and immediately got back to his exploration. However, as he explored the remaining parts of the building, he started hearing the noises once again.
Cool, well, I think that is pretty much everything, guys. I think that's the whole site done. So take a walk back downstairs. Now I'm going to do some pictures, do some cinematics, and then I think we can make a move. Fuck. Hello?
As Colin was filming the window, he suddenly heard a loud banging noise coming from the hallway. He immediately went towards the noise to investigate its source, but unfortunately he found nothing that could have caused such a loud bang. Nevertheless, Colin didn't back down and continued with his exploration. However, as he was exploring one of the rooms, that's when he encountered something that sent him running out of the building.
What the hell is that? Starting to be some really weird stuff in here.
Oh, fuck!
According to Colin, while he was walking through the hallway, he suddenly heard a loud bang. This immediately sent him running, and as he picked up his camera, he claimed to have seen a figure standing behind the blue chair before it vanished right before his eyes. Although his camera didn't capture the figure, he did identify a point in the footage where a figure can be seen standing, but it is still a mystery if this was a figure standing or merely just a shadow of some sort. However, the mystery surrounding the figure doesn't end here. After Colin uploaded this video to his channel, he uploaded another video where he returned to the haunted hospital a month later to investigate further. However, little did Colin know that what he was about to encounter this time would be far worse than anything he'd experienced during his previous visit.
Cannot believe that I'm doing this on my own at night. Definitely not going up that way first, I'm going this way first. Why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Oh my God, it is absolutely freezing in here. It is absolutely freezing. There's no windows open in here. Every single window is boarded. Oh, okay, whoa. Okay, that was creepy. It felt like I bumped into someone, but there's no one there. Literally, I step into this room here. The temperature change from there to here. Now, that is really strange.
As soon as Colin entered one of the rooms, he noticed that the temperature inside was significantly colder, and the moment he stepped back out, the temperature returned to normal. This detail is particularly alarming, given that many paranormal experts claim cold spots may indicate the presence of a ghost. The theory is that when a spirit moves, it absorbs heat from the environment, and therefore creates a cold spot within its path. Nevertheless, Colin didn't think much of this detail and continued with his exploration. However, just moments later, as he walked through the hallway, that's when he stumbled upon something truly disturbing.
Why am I here on my own, walking around this abandoned hospital that I saw something? I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a ghost. I mean, I can show you guys now, right? I saw something just behind that blue chair. Now, bearing in mind I saw it with my own eyes, I didn't realise I had it on camera. Let's do this. What the hell was that? I'm sure I heard something. I don't know. It's probably just the wind. Okay, this is the worst part for me. Whoa. I think it is just Whoa. Okay, that's scary. God, this is absolutely... What the fuck? No, I'm hearing noises all around me. I don't know what it is. I am just so terrified right now. I can hear noises. I don't know whether it's pigeons in the loft. I don't know if it's stuff falling from the ceilings. It must be.
After hearing the noises, Colin initially dismissed them as a pigeon. However, after hearing a similar noise several more times, he immediately went towards the noise to investigate its source. But unfortunately, he found nothing that could have caused those noises. He then left the hallway and went upstairs to explore the remaining parts of the building. During his exploration, Colin again felt the sudden shift in temperature, but he didn't back down and continued exploring. However, that's when he started hearing the noises once again, but this time they were louder and closer.
Goosebumps on my whole body right now are just... You could probably strike a match off my skin. Look at this little... What was that? What was that? What the hell was that? Fuck. I think it's just stuff falling from the ceiling, but it's bloody frightening the life out of me. Why does it look like a leg sticking out that door out there? It's not, but... Oh! I've just got all these ideas going through my head at the moment. Whoa. There's someone in there. That can't be. No. There's no one in here. There is nobody in here. It's just me. Hello? Oh, fuck. There's no one in here.
After Colin heard the loud bang, he immediately ran off, but eventually went back to investigate its source. Once again, despite searching everywhere, he found nothing that could have caused such a loud bang. By this point, Colin was consumed by fear and anxiety over everything he'd been witnessing that night. As a result, he decided to end his exploration and exit the building. However, just as Colin was trying to leave, that's when he encountered something that sent him running out of the building.
Oh, God, okay. Oh, I've never been so scared. I've never been so scared. I'm getting out of here. I've had enough. Fuck that. Fuck that. That was weird. That was really, really weird. What is it about this place? Oh, I hate this place, I really do. Just listen. Shit.
If you look closely at the footage, you can clearly see a red ball mysteriously rolling out of the room. Colin, upon spotting the ball, immediately rushes out of the building and safely makes it back to his car. It's still a mystery whether what Colin encountered that night was paranormal or not, along with the mystery of how the ball suddenly rolled out of the room, or whether the figure Colin claimed to have seen during his initial visit was somehow responsible for throwing the ball. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether Zachary Merton Ward in England was truly haunted or not. These right here are two British YouTubers named Joe and Elliot, who in November of 2021 uploaded a rather disturbing video titled Intense Paranormal Investigation to their channel Ghost Theory. Their channel is dedicated to urban exploration, where they frequently document footage of their paranormal investigations in various haunted locations throughout the UK. In this particular video, Joe and Elliot decided to explore an abandoned hospital known as the Zachary Merton Ward, situated in Stanmore, England. As the duo began their exploration, they climbed through a broken window to enter the building. Once inside, they immediately mentioned that this hospital was one of the creepiest places they had ever been in and was unlike anything they had ever explored before. As they continued exploring, they discovered various creepy graffiti and writings written everywhere. Some of them even looked as though they had been written recently, as they appeared relatively fresh. But the explorers didn't think too much about this detail and eventually continued with their exploration. However, as they were walking through one of the rooms, they started hearing some pretty bizarre noises, and that's when they encountered something truly disturbing.
Right, this is the place the bearded explorer has been, and saw something walking around at the end of a corridor. He was on his own.
Stop. I think there's fuzzy footsteps literally there.
Honestly, I'm f***ing terrified. I just need a minute to calm down. I'm absolutely shaking.
Yeah. What was that?
What?
There was a knock behind you.
Let's just be quiet a second, actually.
Oh my god.
What?
I just heard furniture dragging from upstairs.
That.
Is it wind? Can you hear that?
Yeah. I could hear lots of odd things. I don't know. I can't tell if it's something outside or not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for f***'s sake, it's just every corner you look at.
Just listen. That's in here.
I can hear something in there.
After hearing the noises, the explorers listened intently and stared in the direction from which they came. The noises eventually stopped and they ultimately concluded that they were likely caused by wind. The duo then resumed their exploration. As they walked through the hallway, they stumbled upon a disturbing sign. Like the previous sign they discovered, this one also looked as though it had been written recently. During this time, they began hearing the noises again, but this time they decided to investigate their source. However, as they were investigating the noise, that's when they made a shocking discovery.
Furniture dragging upstairs for real. I kind of don't want to go up there.
I'm being totally honest, I have never been so terrified of a building in my life. I don't want to stop recording because I feel like something's going to happen.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like...
Yeah.
Just... What even is that? Is that a bag of blood?
Is it a blood bag? Is that where the blood's come from? It's a blood bag.
There was actually... Oh my god.
It's a blood bag.
But you can sort of see inside it and there's red coming out of it.
Yeah.
What on earth?
Filming your kneecaps.
We need to go upstairs.
Yeah.
It's evident that a bag, covered and filled with red fluid, was lying on the floor. While it's difficult to determine its exact contents, the fluid oddly resembled the color of blood. If this actually was the case, then this encounter becomes even more alarming, especially considering that the explorers had already encountered several signs stained with a similar shade of red. This indicated that whoever was responsible for making those signs must have used the contents of the bag and later left it behind. After this chilling discovery, the explorers left the room and went upstairs to investigate further. However, this is when they encountered something once again.
Oh god, this floor isn't very smart, is it?
It's not stable.
I've got to wonder if this is even worth coming up here. There's no roof.
Hold on. It's just weird seeing shadows and stuff. I think it was just my light. Alright, let's go.
Shit
What
on
was
my
that?
absolute head.
What was that?
Not a shit, not a clue.
Was that someone coming through? Did that come from up here?
Wait, no, down here. Right. Down here. Oh, I can hear moaning as well. I can hear a really weird,
Okay.
loud, like, screamy moan. Did you not hear that? That.
As soon as the explorers went upstairs, one of them suddenly felt something fly past his head and smash against the wall. Although the projectile was not visible, the loud bang suggested it might have been a rock or some other hard object. Startled by the noise, the explorers immediately looked down the stairs, trying to determine the source of the commotion. Disturbingly, they found nothing, and the only sound they heard were screams echoing from the lower level. The explorers then immediately went downstairs to investigate the noises. However, little did the explorers know that what they were about to encounter next would be far worse than anything they had encountered before.
There is so much going on down here right now. Seriously, is there anyone else here with us?
That was instant.
Is there anyone from the spirit world who wants to communicate with us? I swear to God, there's someone around that corner. Hello?
Go down, go down.
I'm actually going to need Jesus after this. Where should we go next?
Because this is the main corridor, which is... See, I keep thinking I hear noises over there. Is there
Yes.
anybody here? Can you please just make a sound? Just to let us know you are here.
I feel like we need to find a really, really decent room to go down and then choose. Oh my shit on my what the hell?
Should we go?
Did you get that on camera?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
Sake.
I'm shaking.
Please tell me we got that on camera.
I don't know.
What the hell?
To the explorers' absolute shock, the door mysteriously collapsed and fell just a few feet away from them. Terrified for their lives, they immediately ran away from the hallway. For the next few minutes, the explorers stared in the direction of the collapsed door, trying to comprehend and process what they had just seen. By this point, the duo was consumed by fear and anxiety over everything they had been witnessing that night. For anyone else, the door falling on its own would have been enough to scare them off. But for Joe and Elliot, although they were absolutely in shock, they didn't leave. Instead, they pulled out their ghost hunting equipment and tried to communicate with whoever was inside the building.
Is there someone here? Is there someone here that's trying to communicate with us? Can you do something like that again with the door? Can you do something with this? This thing that's in my... Was that because I moved it? What the...
Joe?
Yes. It went up to red.
The fuck? Thank you.
Move away from it. Can you take it up to red if that is a spirit here with us? Take it up to red now. Exactly on cue. Go up to red if you are male.
Male. Go up.
Okay.
So does that mean you are female?
You can't make that up. You can't fucking make that up.
Thank you. We mean you total respect. We honestly do. You're brilliant.
It's back.
I need to just ask you a question. Can you turn it off if you mean us harm?
Did you try to hit us with this door? Were you trying to hurt us then? Take that to red if you were trying to hurt us.
I need to just ask you one more time. Please light this thing up if you just want us to leave.
It does.
Okay, we're going to leave now.
That's right up to red.
Yeah.
Solidly there.
We're going to leave now because we mean you respect, and we're going to leave you in peace.
After the explorers tried communicating through the K2 meter, they did manage to get some pretty bizarre responses. Although it's hard to say if the responses they got were 100% accurate, but if they were, then this encounter becomes even more alarming. One particularly disturbing response they got was when they asked if the fallen door was meant to harm them. The K2 meter went off and responded with a yes. Later, when they asked if the spirit wanted them to leave, it again responded with a yes. The explorers, out of respect, ended their investigation and left the building. It's still unclear if what Joe and Elliot encountered in the hospital was paranormal, but based on everything they witnessed that night, it's safe to say that whoever was inside the building didn't want them there. When the explorers initially entered the building, they were met with strange noises and loud bangs. However, when they didn't leave the building and continued exploring, whoever was inside the building forcefully pushed the door, which scared them, but they didn't leave. Finally, when they tried to communicate with the spirit and got all the bizarre responses, they eventually ended their exploration. However, none of these claims regarding the paranormal have been confirmed or verified and are merely based on what the explorers encountered that night. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether the Zachary Merton ward in England was truly haunted or not. In February of 2024, a YouTuber named Chris Hill uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Scary Encounter While Exploring Abandoned School" to his channel Urbex Hill. His channel is dedicated to urban exploration, and he frequently shares footage of his strange and bizarre encounters in various abandoned locations throughout the United States. In this particular video, Chris decided to explore an abandoned school known as Audubon Junior High, situated in Cleveland, Ohio. Constructed in 1922, Audubon Junior High was dedicated to providing high-quality education to the youths of Cleveland. The school was part of a movement to enhance educational opportunities in urban areas. However, over the years, the school experienced a period of decline due to low enrollment numbers, changes in educational needs, and various other key factors. As a result, the school officially closed its doors in 2010 after serving its community for 84 years. Since then, the school has been completely abandoned for nearly 15 years and has become a hotspot for criminal activity. There have been multiple reports of illegal activities and violence in the vicinity. In May 2023, the body of a 16-year-old boy was found behind the school, and the victim had sadly sustained multiple fatal gunshot wounds. Unfortunately, the police have not identified or arrested any suspects related to this crime. However, just 9 months after this tragic incident, Chris decided to explore the abandoned school alone in the middle of the night. As Chris begins his exploration, he immediately notices that the building is in a very rough state, with deteriorating walls and ceilings, along with creepy graffiti and writings written everywhere. During this time, Chris also sets up multiple infrared cameras throughout the building to capture anything he might otherwise overlook. As he ventures further, Chris discovers signs indicating that someone might have been inside the building recently, but he doesn't hear or see anything unusual and continues exploring. However, just moments later, as Chris stepped inside one of the rooms, he suddenly started hearing some pretty bizarre noises, and that's when things started to take a very disturbing turn for Chris.
There's a lot of movement down there. You hear that? It sounds like somebody's down there. What the hell was that? Listen. Yeah, somebody's here. Someone's gotta be here.
After Chris heard the noises, he immediately went towards the noise to investigate its source. But despite searching everywhere, he unfortunately found nothing, and ultimately concluded that the noises must belong to a homeless person living inside the building. Nevertheless, Chris didn't back down and continued with his exploration. However, that's when the infrared camera he'd set up earlier captured something truly unexplainable.
Whoa, look at this. That is really creepy. It's a gym area. It's destroyed in here though. They set a fire right here. It's probably not even vandalism, kids or whatever. It's probably homeless people trying to stay warm during the winter. So they just burn the wood of the floor, I guess. This area has a really weird smell. This area has a really weird smell.
If you look closely at the footage, you can see what appears to be a black shadowy figure running from one side of the window to another. Chris, however, was completely unaware of this detail and was still exploring the building. During this time, Chris stumbled upon a wire that seemed to be placed as a booby trap of some sort. As Chris followed the wire to investigate why it was set up, that's when he made a shocking discovery.
It's like this weird string. Looks like a booby trap. That's weird. The string just keeps going all the way down there. This is sketchy though. Look at this string. It just keeps going up. That's weird. Whoa! Fuck, I thought that chair was falling. You know what though? It looks like that chair is being held on by the string. Oh, I'm freaking out. God, that scared the hell out of me.
Disturbingly, the wire appears to be holding up the chair, indicating that if anyone pulled it, the chair would immediately fall, potentially causing serious injuries to the victim. This detail is particularly alarming, considering the school's history of criminal activity. The trap was likely set up by someone with sinister intentions. Chris, upon making this chilling discovery, immediately went upstairs to investigate why anyone would set up such a dangerous booby trap. However, while investigating, that's when Chris encountered something that would completely change the course of his investigation.
This is where that string goes. Listen. Holy shit. Somebody's down there. What the hell was that noise? Wait a minute. This wasn't like this before. I do not remember this being here. Hello? Hello? Okay. I can't remember if this was like this before or not.
It's important to note that the door wasn't blocked by the metal gate when Chris initially approached it. However, when Chris heard the loud bang and went downstairs to investigate, the door was mysteriously blocked by the gate. This indicated that someone or something was definitely inside the building, potentially hiding and waiting to ambush or attack Chris at any given moment. Despite this bizarre discovery, Chris wasn't entirely sure if the door had been blocked before and continued his exploration. However, just moments later, as Chris stepped into one of the rooms, that's when he started hearing voices coming out of an empty room.
It smells weird in here. That's actually kind of creepy to see.
It's evident that a fast whisper can be heard just as Chris was looking at the board. Although it's hard to comprehend what it said, it does sound like the voice said, "He is watching."
That's actually kind of creepy to see.
Despite the creepy voice warning Chris, he didn't hear it at the time. It wasn't until he reviewed the footage later that he heard the voice. Chris, oblivious to any of these bizarre encounters, continued with his exploration. During this time, he stumbled upon a trail of red stains on the floor. Chris followed the trail, which led him to a room with a disturbing sign on the door. By this point, Chris was consumed by fear and anxiety over everything he'd been witnessing, but he didn't back down and eventually entered the room. However, that's when he encountered something that sent him running out of the building.
What the hell? Somebody was Is this real? What the fuck? This can't be real. That is crazy. Oh shit. Yo, there are bullet cases. What was that? What was that? Somebody's in there. Yeah.
As soon as Chris opened the door, he was startled to see a trail of red stains covering the floor. Disturbingly, he also discovered multiple bullet casings right next to the stain. While Chris was trying to comprehend what he was looking at, he suddenly heard a loud bang, and just moments later, he heard a man's voice coming from the room. Chris, terrified for his life, immediately rushed out of the room and managed to escape the building without any harm. It's still unclear who was inside the building with Chris, or whether the person inside was responsible for the tragic incident that happened 9 months earlier to the 16-year-old. After Chris left the building, he immediately called the authorities and reported everything he'd seen inside the school. The school was then secured by the police, and anyone who decides to enter the school will promptly be arrested.